Now we move on to the next unit of this block. The block second block, this is getting human resources, and this is unit 5, as you can see on your screen. So this is given human resource planning. Okay, so human resource planning, what it is, now you see. First, human resource planning may be defined as a strategy. Okay, it is strategy for acquisition, utilization, improvement and preservation of human resources of an enterprise. It means, we can say here, it is type of a strategy. Okay, means it is a type of long term planning for acquisition, utilization, means how the organization can acquire human resource, utilize human resource, improve human resource, means the capability of the people working in the organization, and preservation. Preservation means here how the organization can keep their talented people in the organization, and how the organization can motivate those talented people to work you can say effectively and efficiently. Okay, so that's all about human resource planning. So some more things are given about that. So human resource planning exists as a part of the planning process of business. It is a part of business planning. It is the activity of the management which is aimed at coordinating requirements for and the availability of different types of employers. Okay, here you see activities of the management. So this is the activity of the management which is aimed at coordinating requirements for and availability of different types of employers. So you see here, so what are different kinds of requirements are there, so that business can work and can do its day-to-day activities in a better way. So these things can be done if it is pre-planned, and that planning also includes human resource. Major activities of human resource planning include forecasting. So human resource planning includes forecasting, means comparison of present and future requirements. So what it is the present requirement and what it will be the future requirement, means comparing them, that is forecasting. Second, and planning. So first it is forecasting, second given planning. So planning means necessary program to meet future requirements. Okay, so here first major activities include forecasting and planning. So forecasting meaning comparison of present and future requirements, and planning means what are different kinds of programs are required to meet future requirement. For example, how many people to train today so that future requirements can be achieved, or how many employees to recruit today so that after 3 years or 4 years sufficient number of employees will be present in the organization so that business can grow. Objectives of human resource planning given. So objectives of human resource planning are mainly to ensure optimum utilization of human resources currently employed. Means currently whatever number of people are employed in the organization, so how those people can be utilized in a better way. That is the first objective of human resource planning. Second, given assess and forecast future requirements. So how many people are going to be required in the future, so that assessment also is the objective of the human resource planning. Third, given cope up with the changing scenario. Cope up with changing scenario meaning environment is dynamic, the business environment is changing day by day, so the requirement of people in the organization also changes from day to day. So that's why that changing scenario should be managed properly by human resource managers. Attaching with business plans of organization means attach human resource planning with the business plan. Means what is the plan of the business in the future. Okay, so attach that human resource planning with that business, so that according to the requirement of the business of the organization, sufficient number of people are going to be present, so that the organization can move and develop. Anticipate redundancies. Anticipate redundancy, meaning here redundancies given, meaning what are the number of people which can be reduced. Means may be possible that more than sufficient level people are working in the organization, so whatever extra number of people are working in the organization, so those can be reduced. Okay, those can be lay off. Next given here, provide basis for human resource development. Basis here given human resource development. Here human resource development, so we know that is related to providing training and development, means activities related to training and development. So what are different requirements in the future and in the present? So according to the requirement of the present and the future, human resource development, or you can say HRD department, can train employees in accordance with the requirement of the employees in the present and in the future. Assist in productivity bargaining. Here given, assist in productivity bargaining. So human resource planning, it is also about bargaining, means how much productive employees should be, because greater the productivity of employees, the greater will be the effort required by employees. So that's why that bargaining is, we can say that bargaining is also the objective of human resource planning. Need for human resource planning at macro level. At macro level, why it is, you see here, at macro level, why human resource planning is important or why required. So major reasons for emphasis on human resource planning at macro level, at big level, at large scale level include: first, employment and employment situation. So employment and employment situation, it varies, means sometime there it is increase in employment, sometime decrease in the employment. So due to that, so human resource planning, it is very important. So it is about forecasting and planning about how many people should work at any particular moment of time in the organization, so that productivity of the organization, or you can say efficiency and effectivity of the organization, can be increased. Technological change. Technology changes day by day, so that's why number of people required for the organization also change. So human resource planning here play a big role. Organizational change. Organization changes due to changes in the specific environment of the organization, or the changes in the industry of the organization. So that's why, due to change in the organization, employees required for the organization will also change. So if a number of employees are going to change, then in that case human resource people should plan for the present and for the future. Demographic change. Number of people in different localities also change, so that will also affect the availability of sufficient number of employees or workers. Skills shortage. So it may be possible that employees do not have sufficient level of skills which are required for the job. So here in this case, maybe the shortage of skill. So human resource planner should keep in mind that at any particular moment of time, what kind of skills are required for performing the job. Next given, government influences. Government also influences the activities of the organization, means how organizations should behave, means how organizations should recruit and train employees, are also affected by the government influences, because government by legal proceedings can make the organization to do certain things. Legislative control, so here that's just the way government, here legislative controls, meaning by legal procedures, legal bodies can affect the way organizations work and the number of people working in the organization. So impact of pressure groups, so many different kinds of pressure groups are there present in the specific environment of the organization. So those groups also affects the increase and decrease of the number of people working in the organization. Then the last 9th number given, lead time, the long lead time is necessary in the selection process and for training and development of employee to handle new knowledge and skills successfully. Okay, so here for handling new knowledge and skills successfully, employees need time. They need time to accept or to gain knowledge and skill so that they can perform in a better way. So that's why also human resource planning is very important. Levels of human resource planning given at national level, means at national level organization, particularly the central and the state governments should plan in a proper way so that the industry requirements can be fulfilled. Second, given sectoral level, in different sectors here, any particular field we can say at sector level, and an industry level here given for any particular industry, organizations should forecast and plan the number of people required for. Then fourth given, unit level, means at plant level, department level or division level. So what are different kinds of people are required for the job and how many people are required for the job. So process of human resource planning given next. The process of human resource planning is entirely based on the corporate plans and objectives. So how corporate plan and what are different kinds of objectives are there, according to that human resource planning process should be used. Human resource planning is a continuous process of review, control and assessment. Here review, control, assessment means continuously review. So whether the number of people working in the organization is sufficient or not. If it is less, then recruit more, and if more, then lay off. Control, whether the employee working in the organizations are controlled properly or not, and also whether their activities are in accordance with the requirement of the job or not. The major stages of human resource planning are as follows. First major stage given, analyzing operational plans. That is the first stage of human resource planning. Analyzing operational plans, objectives and strategic plans of the company are analyzed. So whatever different kinds of objectives and strategic plans, means long-term plans are there, so those things are analyzed. Then second, under this analyzing operational plan given, plans concerning technological, finance, production are analyzed. Okay, here technology, finance and production are analyzed. First it is about the objective and strategic plan, means long-term plans are analyzed. Then after technological, means so whether the technology is available for that particular objective or a strategy or not, finance it is available or not, or the production of that much amount of products are possible or not. So these things are analyzed. Then future plans, goals and objectives of the company are also taken into account. Future plans, you see here future plans. Here it is related to the objectives and strategic plans of the company. So future plans, goals and objectives of the company are also taken into account. So what are different future plans are there, what are different objectives are there for the future, so those things are also taken into account. And the second given a stage for human resource planning, given human resource demand forecasting. It is first given plan forecasting. Okay, so that's what I already explained, that human resource planning is about plans and forecasting. So demand forecast means how many people are required in the future, and manpower gaps, so present and the future gap. And so whatever number of people are required for the organization and what is the exact number of people right now, so that can be, that gap can be evaluated. Then supply forecast, so how that gap can be fulfilled. And so how means the gap means whatever it is, the less number of employees are there, so how more employees can be recruited. So those things can also be analyzed here by supply forecast. Techniques of HR demand forecast. Okay, you see techniques of human resource demand forecast means how that can be, means how it can be found that how many people are going to be required for the organization. So the first it is given managerial judgment. So managers are going to judge that how much there it is the gap and between the current requirements and the exact number of employees working in the organization. So in this, experienced managers estimate the human resource requirements for their respective departments on the basis of their knowledge of expected future workload and employment efficiency. So here experienced managers use their knowledge to find out that how many workers or employees are going to be required in the future, or whether the workload is going to increase or decrease, and what it will be the efficiency of employment. So by analyzing these all things, managers decide what should be the number of employees which the organization should recruit. Work study method. So in this method, time and motion study are used to analyze and measure the work being done. So time and motion, here work study means work is studied by the expert, and then it is measured that how many people are going to be required, and according to that new employees are going to be recruited or laid off. So ratio trend analysis. Under this method, ratio, total output divided by number of workers, are calculated on the basis of past data. In case of ratio trend analysis, so whatever it was the trend in the past, it means according to the output how many workers were required in the past, according to that managers are going to calculate in the same way according to the demand in the market how many employees are going to be required. Then fourth given mathematical models, it expresses the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. So you see here this mathematical model find out the relation in between the investment, just like independent variable and dependent variable. So independent variable given here, investment, production, sales. So according to investment, production and sales, so how many numbers of employees will be required? So that relation can be established by using mathematical models. Factors affecting human resource demand forecasting given employment trends. So factors affecting human resource demand forecasting employment trends means according to the employment trend, human resource demand will be affected. Replacement needs, so how many employees should be replaced or how many should not, will decide so what it will be the requirement of new employees. Productivity, so according to productivity, human resource requirement will also be affected, because if the productivity is less, then in that case more people will be required, and if productivity is more, then in that case less people will be required for the same amount of work. Absenteeism, greater number of people are, if a great number of people are absent on the job, then in that case more people should be recruited, so that those absent people can be, means whatever the work left by those absent people can be done by new recruited employees. Then fifth one, given expansion and growth. So how much the organization wants to expand and what is the growth rate of the organization will also affect the HR demand forecast. Problems in HR human resource planning process. What are the different kinds of problems which occur when HR manager try to forecast the number of people required at present and in the future? So first, given inaccuracy. Human resource planning, it is entirely dependent on human resource forecasting and supply, which cannot be 100% accurate process. You see here, human resource planning, it depends on human resource forecasting. It means calculating the number of people required in the future and the supply of number of people in the future. So with here number of people required in the future and number of people available in the future cannot be 100% accurate, means that cannot be found out exactly. So that is inaccuracy. Second, given employee resistance. Employees and unions feel that by human resource planning their workload increases, so they resist the process. So here human resource planning, it is about finding out the productivity of employees also. So employees and unions resist any kind of human resource planning process, because they think that by giving honest information about their work, their workload will increase, so they resist the process of human resource planning. Uncertainties. Third, given uncertainties, labor absenteeism, labor turnover, seasonal employment, technological changes and market fluctuations are the uncertainties which human resource planning process might have to face. So you see, uncertainties are present in the environment of the organization. The uncertainties, it may be labor absenteeism, it may be labor turnover, seasonal employment, technological change or market fluctuations. So due to these all uncertainties which are present in the organizational environment, human resource planning process might have to will face human resource planning will face a lot of problems. Inefficient information system. Here you see, in the absence of reliable data, it is not possible to develop effective human resource planning. So data about human resource is very important. If correct data is not available, then evaluating or forecasting the exact number of people required in the present or in the future, it is impossible. So that's why inefficient information system will lead to ineffective human resource planning. Then given time and expense, human resource planning is time consuming and expensive exercise, so industries avoid. So it is time consuming, it takes much time for evaluating the number of people required and what are different traits of the people required and availability of employees present in the job market. So these all things are tedious work. Okay, these all things make this process tedious, so that's why industries avoid this. Guidelines for making human resource planning effective. Given guidelines for making human resource planning effective. First guideline given, tailor-made. Human resource planning should be balanced with corporate objectives. Means whatever human resource planning here used, so that should be in balance with the corporate objectives. Means whatever it is the objectives, for example, it means what the corporation wants, means in how many fields the corporate wants to establish its business or other kinds of activities. So according to that, human resource planning should be done. Second given, appropriate time. The period of human resource planning should be appropriate to the needs and circumstances of an organization. Means whatever kind of human resource planning is used by the organization, that should be in accordance with the needs and circumstances of the organization. If it is not in accordance with the needs and circumstances of the organization, then in that case it will take more time. So that's why appropriate time means, so that much time it should be devoted for human resource planning which is sufficient, or which is you can say available, which is available by the organization. Adequate organization. Human resource planning process should be properly organized. It should be properly organized, otherwise forecasting exact number of people required will not be accurate. Top management support. Before starting the human resource planning process, the support and commitment of top management should be ensured, because here it takes long time and much more processes. So that's why support from the top management is very required for making the human resource planning process effective. Participation. Human resource planning will be successful if all in an organization are participating. So here participation is very important for the success of human resource planning. Then next given here, information system. An adequate database should be developed for facilitating human resource planning. So adequate database system is very important, because if data is not available for evaluating, then in that case human resource managers cannot get exact scenario of the things, means how many people are required by the organization. So that's why information system means proper information should be there. Means that's why here written, an adequate database should be developed for facilitating human resource planning. Balanced focus. The quantity and quality should be stressed in a balanced way. Means quantity and quality means how many people means required, and what should be the quality of the people required. So that kind of balance should be properly analyzed. So in summary, here given, human resource planning is the process of determining the number and kind of human resources required in an organization for a specific time period in future. Okay, here it is about the process. Human resource planning is the process to determine the number and kind of human resources required in an organization for a specific time period in the future. Human resource planning is important for Human resource planning is important for an organization because of the changing scenario. Since the environment is changing, so the organization will have to change. Okay, if organization is changing, then in that case number of people required by the organization will also change. So human resource planning is very important. Human resource planning is formulated at various levels. So you see various levels it is formulated. The main steps involved in it are analysis of organization plans, demand. So you see here, so what are different steps? First, organization plans. Second given, demand forecasting. Third given, you see third given, supply forecasting. Organizational plans means what are different plans the organizations have for the future. Demand forecasting means according to that plan what will be the demand for the organization, means what will be the number of people required for the organization in the future. Supply of forecasting. Supply forecasting means what will be the availability of employees in the future, and identifying manpower gaps. And then after identifying means whether it is possible to get that many number of people in the job market or not. So that's all about this human resource planning. This is unit 4, sorry, not unit 4, this is unit 5.